Is life nothing but suffering? Why is my luck like this? This question comes to many of our minds again and again. The story doesn't begin with a blue sky and shining sunlight, but with a broken heart of a man. Let's call the man Anik. Anik is educated and hardworking, yet he has no peace in his mind. He felt that his boss's scolding, the burden of loans, and the monotony of daily life were nothing but hell. When he walked on the road and saw expensive cars passing by, he thought, if only I had that car. When he saw someone laughing with a happy family, he thought, God has given all happiness to others and all sorrow to me. That evening, Anik was sitting by a quiet pond far away from the noise of the city. The light of the sunset fell on his face, but his heart was filled with deep darkness. Looking at the sky, he sighed and said, this caged human life is worse than death. The same struggle, the same pain every day. At that very moment, a hawk flew swiftly over his head and sat on the branch of a dead tree in front of him. In its claws, it held a prey. The hawk had conquered the sky without any barrier. It was not accountable to any boss, nor did it have to pay house rent. Anik stared at it without blinking. He murmured, look, how free it is. No attachments, no rules. It flies whenever it wants, uses the sky however it wishes. No worry about clothes, no society, just open air and freedom. Ah, if only I could become that hawk today. I would give up this body, this name, this identity, just to spread my wings once in that vast sky. Raising both his hands, he shouted towards the sky, oh nature, oh God, free me from this cursed human life. Turn me into that hawk. Suddenly, everything became silent. From behind the clouds, a deep yet calm voice echoed, oh human, do you know what you're asking for? I have made you the best of all creations. I have given you intelligence, language, and the ability to feel. Yet are you not satisfied? Anik was startled, but the despair inside him was so deep that he felt no fear. He said, no, I am tired. Human life means living for others. There is no freedom of my own. Turn me into a bird. The divine voice spoke again. Think again, Anik. Once you cross this boundary, you will never be able to return. The life of a hawk looks beautiful, but living it is much harder. But Anik was stubborn. He said, I agree. I want to fly today. In a moment, a bright light covered everything. Anik's body began to shrink. His skin was covered with feathers and his hands turned into huge wings. He was no longer Anik. He had become a great hawk. The first few hours were unbelievable. When Anik flapped his wings and rose into the sky, he felt like he had conquered the world. The city below looked like toys. The wind passed through his feathers. He wanted to shout, I am free, but only a sharp cry came out. But as the sun set, the first shock came. Human Anik thought birds could sleep anywhere, but Hawk Anik realized that sleeping in the open meant death. To survive from predators and cold, he had to find a shelter high above. There was no soft bed, only rocky edges of a mountain. He shivered all night in the freezing cold. The next morning, he felt intense hunger, but there was no food served on a table. He had to fly miles to find a mouse or a small bird. As a human, he was not a hunter, so he failed several times. His stomach burned with hunger. He realized here one must risk life for a single meal. On the third day, the sky turned dark. A terrible storm began. As a human, Anik would have stayed inside a building with closed windows and coffee. But now, the strong winds were throwing him around. He crashed into a tree branch. His left wing broke and his leg was badly injured. After the storm, he lay helpless on the ground. He had lost his ability to fly. In that condition, a group of crows surrounded him. Seeing him weak, they tried to peck him to death. The hawk he once thought was like a king was now completely helpless. He thought, as a human, at least I had friends, I had family. If I die today, no one will even know. I have no language to ask for help. After days of hunger, thirst, and pain, he somehow reached the edge of a hospital rooftop. Through the window, he saw a nurse gently feeding an old patient. A doctor came and placed a hand on the patient's head, saying, "Don't worry, you will recover." Tears came to Hawk Anik's eyes. He thought, human life has suffering, but it also has love, care, science, and the ability to help others. I only saw the pain, but I never saw the blessings of being human. If I were human today, I could at least lie on a hospital bed and someone would take care of me. But now now it was too late. His body was no longer responding. He looked at the sky one last time. The same sky he thought was a symbol of freedom now felt much more cruel. Slowly, his eyes closed on the hospital rooftop. Friends, we often look at others' lives on social media or from a distance and think they are so happy. Only our life is dark like coal. But remember, every life has its own struggle. What you have may be a dream for millions of people in the world. So instead of blaming your fate, learn to respect your own position. As you are, wherever you are, you have the opportunity to prove yourself from there. Because life is given only once, don't waste it in regret. Be grateful for your life. Thanks for watching.